We're good.
Okay. It's 6 p.m. I'll call the regular meeting of the Ledyard Land Use Planning and Public Works Committee to order. At this point, I will call the roll. Hillary is here. Mike Washington is here. Kevin Dombrowski is here. Also here is Dennis Main from the Avalonia Land Conservancy, Julie Hulette from the town planner, and Roxanne Mayer, assistant. At this point, is there any citizens' comments? Anybody like to address the committee? Seeing none. Informational items. We do have a presentation from Dennis Main from Avalonia Land Conservancy about some future endeavors that Avalonia wants to partake in Ledyard. With that, Dennis, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Sure. Roxanne, can you bring up the map? A picture being worth 1,000 words. If we could start with, and it's two maps. One is a larger yellow cross-hatched map of the overall project. And this will tie into multiple kind of agenda pieces to it.
Assistant Principal and Athletic Director at Ledyard High School. Winter sports.
I just want to make sure I get the right attachment.
It would be the second one. First attachment's a letter from 2019 when we were having the discussion on the town was planning to close Lambtown Extension Road, and that obviously impacts us. Okay, so kind of quick overview, big picture. The cross-hatched in yellow, 31, 32, 40, and 60 are the 4 parcels with a Lamb family that we have under contract currently. We've got a couple little pieces of paperwork we're finishing up with them. Also 1732, sort of in the middle to the left on Colonel Ledyard Highway. That's owned by a family member, and that is also part of the contract. The 44, 47, 10, and 14, and then the pieces up north of Lambtown Road and 67 Lambtown Road, those are all excluded. Those are house lots, home pieces, with the exception of 44, which is the barn and the fields that Edmund and Marlene own on Lambtown Road that are not part of the contract. And you can see Lambtown Road extension in there. Up to the north of the yellow hatch, there's a number 32. That's about a 50-foot wide piece, peach tree, that the town, we had already gotten approval, hasn't gone to the town meeting yet, but got approval to have that transferred because our parking would be on another parcel that the town previously transferred to us. We also have lot 9, which is the beginning above the top of the map. We have 9 Peachtree. We have 21R, which is the big piece, top center there of the wetlands, and 25. So we will ultimately end up with 4 parcels on Peachtree, some of them contiguous. But 32, what that provides us is parking at our other parcel, number 25, that has about 165 feet of road frontage. We do have to do a curb cut, but there's level flat parking there that we can have parking at and then be able to come into the top side of the Lamb Preserve. There is just no parking on Lambtown Road. That's going to be a physical impossibility to try to put parking on Lambtown Road. So this access, and you got boulder terrains, pine forest up there. It's really pretty nice up there. It's really kind of awesome, actually. All right. Down at the bottom of this map, there are there's actually 4 parcels that the town owns currently, and that's on your agenda item, old business agenda item 3, I believe, the inventory of town properties. There's 9 Chriswood, there's 35 Chriswood, 57 Barton, and 40 Barton that all basically are open spaces that abut each other or abut the Lamb parcel. And so we would ask if the town could look at those and see if that would be a potential point of access, parking type area, or a viewing area to connect all of this landscape that we're putting together as a Lambtown farm. I don't know if there's any particular reason that the town had not transferred those out earlier. There was a point where the town had transferred about 12 of these smaller parcels to us, including the 3 on Peachtree. But they look like they're really good habitat. There would be a continuation of the habitat within the Lamb Farm, particularly the wetlands down on Barton Lane, et cetera, and the wetland piece at 9 that's right in the center of your map there. And it also would kind of connect all of that Lamb Farm, number 1732 Center Grattan Road, and then 9. It seems like it would make some sense to at least look at. You know, if there's reasons the town doesn't want to transfer them, fine, but I just suggest that we kind of investigate those for the possibilities of that connectivity and being abutters and enhancing the overall preserve. All right, if you come down to the next map, Roxanne. This gets into the specifics of the Lamb Farm Preserve itself and our OSFL grant with the state. And we still have to get the Attorney General approval of the overall layout and that we provide enough passive recreation. The state grant is for passive recreation and conservation. So we've got, as you can see, at our number 25 Peachtree that we own, that's a nice flat level. You've got parking designed to be there. Go down through the cul-de-sac to 32. 32, again, is only 50 feet wide. And so it's narrow and it's ledgy right at the edge. So we would only anticipate that being for walking paths through there, not for parking or trying to put a parking lot or anything in there. And try to avoid having people block up the whole cul-de-sac. Because again, it's only a 50-foot wide lot. So there's not room for more than a couple cars. And then you've got this great hemlock forest and boulder trails, et cetera, up here. And again, on this, you can see the town open space that is the number 9 Chriswood. And that's next to the 1732 that's part of what's coming to Avalonia with the Lamb Farm. And then getting down further, really where the trails, there's a connecting pentway where it says Loop Trail, Lamb Farm, and Avery Farm. That presupposes that they're coming off of the town road, which is the historic road closed up, not used for vehicular traffic. But this is where the letter that was sent out in 2019 from the mayor to the Lamb abutters, that it was the town's intention to dispose of that road, that it wasn't being used. And we had suggested at the time that entire, not cut it down the middle, not put a fence down the middle, breaking it into the abutters on each side, but just transfer it entirely. And the mayor seemed amenable to that at the time. So it's been a couple of years as we hit COVID and everything kind of slowed down. But now that this is moving forward, just wanted to bring that back up, that we would still like to do that, because that is really providing us access. And it's going to make it risky for us and for the state grant that if we're saying our access is going to be walking trails down through that road, that we know that is indeed not going to be parsed out to abutters, broken into pieces, a fence down the middle of it. You know, you can think of all the other horrible scenarios. And that's the other attachment, is the letter that went out on that. So it's a number of pieces that are kind of all tied together here. And this blue trail where it says Loop Trail, Lamb Farm, and Avery Farm, and there's a little connector across, that's a pentway below the haying fields that are still being mowed, that are being kept in agriculture. But then that ties where the red line ends, that ties into GOSA's blue trail that circles all the way back up to Lambtown Road and all through their properties. They have about 300 acres with the Avery Farm. So this is making an overall preserve of about close to 500 acres. It's pretty awesome. If you haven't walked it, definitely encourage it. And the other thing on the Lambtown extension is we have a new person coming on the board who's worked for the commission, the Protection Advocacy for People with Disabilities, and she also works with the OSWA Open Space Advisory Board, specializing in accessibility and making accommodations for disabled. And both Robert Askins, who was professor of ornithology at Conn College for years, recently retired, and a Ledyard resident, and Elena both went down to view this towards the idea of some of the programs like Birdability to make it available for people with accessibility issues. And this road, and actually we took an electric trike down there, which somebody who was disabled could ride. That road was awesome for that. And the idea of being able to put a viewing platform that's right at road level into that whole huge maze of one of the greatest birding habitats in the local area was just thought to be a super idea. But again, that ties into knowing that the Lambtown extension would indeed be available. If you want to go down to the next, is the letter that was sent out.
Okay, I just need to switch.
Anyone's not. That was the other attachment.
The other attachment is the letter, the 2015 letter.
Whoops, hold on. I went too far.
I know that was a lot of piece parts. Is there any questions? A lot of territory was covering there.
I know, Mike, you had your hand up. Did you have a question? You're
Mike.
I kind of got lost in when you were talking about all the different partials. So the gist of this is, what I'm gathering is the importance of holding on to the Lambtown extension section of the roadway for access into the preserve.
Yes.
And
Well,
then
when you say access into the preserve, it's an access that goes through the preserve. So because it's wetlands on both sides, you don't go directly, other than the Pentway that goes out to Ghost's Blue Trail, you don't go into the preserve there. You're
Correct.
going along that to view it.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. And
Yeah.
so the idea of holding that over as an access so somebody can go out there and just be able to view that area is pretty good. And from past history of having been down that road before they closed it, some of the snapping turtles I used to see as a kid that came across that road were amazing. I just kind of harked back to that time when I was a youth. So
Ever play hockey there? We used to play hockey when that iced over in the winter. You couldn't skate backwards because you'd run into trees, but that was where we played hockey.
Last time I was down there actually was before we closed the road with trying to fight the beavers from flooding out the road. And
Oh,
beaver
yeah.
deceivers and trying to keep the culvert open and stuff like that.
Beaver Deceiver was working great yesterday when we were down there.
There you go. So I guess the question is, really, you're just looking for, at this point, you're just kind of looking for assurances that we have no plan to open the road to vehicular traffic.
Right. Well, a little bit more than that. There was the active July 18th letter that the mayor sent out. Was it's been closed permanently for some time, and that the town was looking to basically get it off its books.
Yeah.
And we had suggested that it be transferred to Avalonia because we're going to own on both sides of the road.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. Now that makes it clear. Yeah. So we would just transfer the right to the road over to Avalonia.
Correct. And we would maintain it, put in accessible parking,
Okay.
keep it as an accessible trail, put a platform where people could view the whole marsh area down there.
Right. Okay. I get that. I don't. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Personally, I don't see any issues with that myself either. But that's just me speaking. That's not the council.
And then obviously the other piece of it was then while we're talking about, because we do have an active request in to transfer 32, obviously, because that's the only way we get from the top into the Hemlock area.
Right.
And that had already been approved. But then looking at the list of the town properties, and just that happened to be on your agenda tonight, coincidentally too.
Yeah, that's just to maintain the list. That's all that is. That's nothing. And if we decide who to change, stewardship of the property over, who had administrative control over, that's all that list is. But by all means, like I said, the 32, we've already agreed to that, and that's done. But I'm looking basically that there's additional parcels of open space that you're also wishing to acquire.
Those would be 9 Chriswood, which is 4.87 acres, and that abuts the 1732 Center Ground Road and the backside of the lamb farm. 35 Chriswood, which is 1.16, and that's a connector from Chriswood neighborhood into the lamb farm.
Right.
And then the 2 on Barton Lane are 57, which is 23.31, and 40, which is really more of just a little small access lot. That's 1.98. That those are basically where the power lines are, which usually make great trails. You know, the power line, they keep them down. There's usually trails there. So that's kind of really, plus it's good, usually good bushy habitat. So those would be the 4 that we would look, you know, if you are willing to entertain transferring those would be ones we look at to augment the lamb farm preserve, assuming again that it closes.
Yeah,
You know,
nope, understood.
We're not there yet.
I mean, Mike and Hillary, I'm not going to speak for you, but from my perspective, I have no issues. I would encourage that Avalonia pursue.
I would concur.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. We know Avalonia has been a good steward of the land that they have already previously received from Ledyard, so we'd be more than happy to continue to work with Avalonia.
Correct. Yes, I agree. It just makes, to me, it just makes great sense to transfer the ownership to Avalonia for that, to the roadway. It's, you know, especially since they butt both sides for the most part anyway.
Right.
And it'll be a great access point into the property for somebody who's got physical disabilities.
Yep. I'm thinking here that this would probably end up being in kind of a 2-prong approach for Avalonia. Once they get ready to close on the land, then they would approach the town for taking over the right-of-way access. And then after as part of that whole, that part, and then once they're ready to apply for the transfer of the other 4 parcels subsequent to that. Is that how what you're thinking, Dennis?
Right. Same with 32 Peachtree as well.
Yep.
Now that's the 5th one that we sort of have in process right now,
Right.
halfway through. But yeah, our attorney is Rob Avina. And I know he's worked with Juliet before too on sort of the whole process and when she was at North Stonington. So I think we can kind of make sure and work what we need to do on title search issues and things like that, and kind of get all of the stuff prepared, because we have to go to the Attorney General ahead of time with everything and get
Right.
everything. So, okay.
So, I mean, hearing the comments from the counselors here, like no formal action taken, but it looks like you have a good approach. And I think that land use at this point looks like that they would support and move forward to the council.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions for us, or you clarify
I'm
it
good.
enough?
Hillary, Mike?
Oh, I'm good. I think it's a great opportunity for the town and the Avalonia both.
Hillary, any additional comments?
Thank you for your presentation.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right. I'm going to sign off.
Yep,
Take care.
thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Excuse me. All right. All right, next item on our agenda is review and approval of the last meeting minutes of September 7th. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
All right, moved
Seconded.
by Counselor Evans, seconded by Counselor Washington. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business. Discussion regarding Ledyard annual appropriation for road maintenance, road repairs, and resurfacing relative to leaks, breaks, water systems, and ongoing repair work requiring excavation. So on this item, we've been talking about this for a little bit. I have not gotten any further information from Steve Maslin, the Public Works Director, on how we want to go approach this. So like that, he was invited, unfortunately wasn't able to make it tonight. So we'll table this discussion until we can actually get some more information from the Public Works Director.
Can you take the screen share down so we can see you?
Oh, sorry.
We're all little, there we go. Moving forward, second item, continued discussion to amend ordinance 300 tax 022. An ordinance containing establishing an agriculture commission for the town of Ledyard, expand the commission scope of work. I will state that at the last agricultural meeting, they did vote on some language that they wanted inserted into the ordinance. Unfortunately, they have not forwarded that over to us yet, so we have nothing to act on. We'll reach out to the chair and see if we can get that for our next meeting. Item number 3, discussion of possible action to periodic review list of town-owned properties. An update quarterly for the assignment of administrative control. There is an updated list that's been attached to your agenda. I don't plan on doing anything with this evening, since probably nobody has even had a chance to look at it. I did look at it. It is combined. Liz did this work. She consulted with Mike Morelli from the Conservation Commission on some of theirs. I don't necessarily disagree with what Mike is asking, but some I do disagree with, because there's a couple properties over that are currently under WPCA control. And before we hand that over to say change it to a Conservation Commission, I just want to make sure, why is that property under WPCA control? And one of the other parcels that's listed is actually the old Founders Preserve, which is, I understand why Conservation Commission will want to have administrative control, but that property has already been agreed to at town meeting to turn over to Avalonia. So those will be coming off the list once the land transfer has taken place. That's just a couple comments that I noted looking through it really quick. But like I said, I have no plan on acting on this tonight, since I don't think anybody's really had a chance to look at it. Continued discussion regarding blight enforcement. Julie, have we got any, is there any updated blight report or no? We don't have one, that's fine.
I mean, if he's supposed to do a report, I'll have him do it, but I just looked at I get a report from him because I want one. So I noticed that there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, we asked for
7.
we asked for periodic, and it probably just in the change of personnel just kind of got dropped off the list, as we like to see an update, the updated the report
Monthly?
if not monthly, at least quarterly.
All right, well, I'll have him do one there. You know,
I mean, if he's giving you a report, he can just add it to our agenda so that we have it as well. That's fine.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything that we need to be concerned about, or just standard?
334 Colonel Ledyard Highway is, going through its cycle that we're going to cut the grass and lean the property again and
Yep.
enter into another cycle there. But the rest of them are just, some commercial blighted properties that need to comply with their site plan.
Okay,
I just downloaded the one in April. So what I'll do is have them go through these to see what the status is and then add the new ones to this, and I'll send it to you.
perfect, thank you. Next item is continued discussion for use of the Clark Farm. I have no updates on this. Right now, the big uses that are happening is we are leasing the property to Walter Major for farming uses, and Tri-Town Trail Committee is also using it for the end of their trail at the moment, so doing well. Status update regarding security and safety at Park at East Street. I have received no updates. I do know one of the budding property owners, and he periodically gives me a update of what's going on from their perspective, but he has not made any mention of any issues going on down there in the last couple of months, so that's good. I have no other old business. Anybody have any old business to add to the agenda? Hearing none, move to new business. First action, discuss and possible action to issue a $560 refund to Mr. Paul Mogul of 827 Colonel Ledyard Highway for a fee charged for zoning board of appeals application number 962. For this one, actually, I'd like to have a motion. So I'm going to make that motion. Would anybody like to second the motion?
It looks like Mike is second, but Mike, I
Mike,
can't hear you.
right, Mike, did you second? You're muted.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
I second the motion, yes.
All right. So a little discussion. I've been doing a little research. I've talked to Mike Cherry, the acting town CEO. And there's this letter that was from what, 1996. Basically what Mr. Mogul is claiming in this court case, which is not a precedence because it's only to the Superior Court, but they're not arguing the case, they're just arguing about the fee. Where in this case here, the town did not have in their their fee ordinance or the fee structure for the ZBA, what the cost would be for appealing ZEO's decision. And then it further goes on to state that nowhere in applicable ordinances does it allow the town to collect a fee for filing an appeal of a ZEO's decision. Looking through this case here, reading through it, looking through various other things, our zoning board of appeals fee appendix does have the fee stated for what it is for application. If you appeal a ZEO's decision of $500 plus the $60 state fee. So that is in there, but when you look through, I went and actually did a little bit of research for other municipalities and found similar fee structures where they label out appealing a ZEO's decision with a fee. And what I noted of interest was the City of New London's fee structure actually has it listed as $0. So I did a little search through applicable state statute. And I kind of have to say he's not wrong. Because it says a fee for an application, but not for an appeal hearing.
You can't charge for those.
You can't charge for those.
No,
Unfortunately,
absolutely not.
unfortunately, what I have in conundrum is that we collected a fee of $560. Our fee for the town is $500. The state fee is $60. We paid the state the $60,
Mhm.
but now we're going to be out another $60 for the state fee.
I believe the attorneys on this one said that they weren't in agreement that it was a decision that was being appealed, because it wasn't really a decision. It wasn't like appealing an application approval or denial or something like that. It was just a letter, wasn't it?
It would, so in this case here, it was a moot point because it got resolved a different way.
Right.
But he was still filed the fee.
We- Yeah, but we still put the notice in probably, so.
Yep, but if you read the state, the Superior Court decision, that there is no provision in the state statute, and I don't disagree. There's no provision in the state statute that allows you to charge a fee to appeal a decision of the ZEO.
Right, I would check with the attorney what the process is to get that, to challenge that he was charged a fee, so because there might be a chain of command that goes up to.
Yeah, I'm not
You know
sure.
what I mean?
Part of me says we probably should just reimburse his $500 paid for the town, but I'm not sure if that's the right answer either.
Can you, excuse me, Roxanne, can you pull that document back up again?
The court.
Nope,
Case one?
nope, the one where you showed what the fee is for the town of Ledyard
The fee structure.
fee structure. The problem I'm having with the zoning board of appeals fee schedule is, as I'm sitting here reading it, when the following fee schedule applies with an effective date of what?
It would have been the effective date of when it was approved.
Right.
So
We
that
just did
wasn't
of
done.
October 28th, the date it signed. Unfortunately, the date didn't get put into the fee itself.
Yeah,
I think the town clerk typed that in, so I didn't get a copy from the clerk's office.
Right.
gotcha, okay. Yep, which is fine. Yeah, if the rules don't allow us to actually charge a fee for the appeal section,
Right.
you know,
The
that's,
court, yeah, if you read through the court case, it actually makes a comment that says that the legislature distinguishes an appeal versus an application.
Right,
And
but
then
they
there's
would have
you-
to challenge our regulated, we don't have to give this back. You're perfectly in your right not to, and I wouldn't do it. What I would do is, which I did the same thing for Jacob Gear, because the statute just changed on whether or not you charge somebody for the location approval, or whether or not you have a public hearing for a location approval. I didn't get the answer in time, had to schedule the public hearing and charge him. So when he came in for his zoning permit, I didn't charge him, you know, so it's like he had a credit. on
Yeah, so yeah,
file.
so, but in this case here, Mr. Mogul isn't filing another application, is he?
Well, he
that you
should,
can just
because he's
say-
got a whole lot of illegal activity going on. So one of these days he will have to file a permit
Yeah.
for what he's doing.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the right for the town to hold the credit to somebody either.
Except it's already processed.
Yeah, okay.
have
The
we
problem is,
charged-
the problem is I think that I don't want to go to court and ask lawyers about this because it's going to cost us more than the $500 to reimburse them.
to that, Kevin, my concern is this a one-off?
No, I think we have to fix the fee structure to say 0.
Okay,
Oh,
that's what, okay, because that's what I'm saying, because if this should be 0, you know, to match it with the
Right.
regs allow, then we shouldn't be, I don't see how you hold the money.
Right. Right. And that's my talking with Mike Cherry. He said, you know, one of the things we were talking about, actually, Roxanne and myself, was actually putting this on our agenda to fix the fee structure. But I wanted to have this discussion first before we did. Recognizing that prior to October of 2020, there was no fee structure listed for zoning board of appeals. The only fee structure listed was on their application. So we
Yep.
kind of drove them to provide us the fee structure to make it consistent with all of the other ordinances for boards and commissions that charge fees for applications. In this case here, I think what we're gonna have to do is reimburse Mr. Mogul the $500. I don't know what to do with the 60. That's my issue. Because he paid 560, 60 went to the state. If we reimburse him 560, then we paid $60 to the state for nothing. But that's part of where I kind of get a little bit. Maybe it's just give him the 560 and forget about it.
Just give him the 500, it's compromise.
Well, would he,
State
would,
fees aren't
well,
not- aren't refundable.
yeah, but if the 60, if he was never supposed to pay the $60 to begin with,
That's where my conundrum falls in, is that if the fee was 0, he would have never had a $60 fee to the state.
so it's not his fault.
No, and that's my point. So that's where I have a,
I think we eat this. I think
I
we get.
think, I think we don't have a choice to tell you the truth. But then all subsequently, I think we need to put on our agenda as part of this is that we put this on the agenda for the next time to update the fee structure.
I concur.
I'll check with the attorney anyway, so.
Yeah, if we want to wait to give the response and let because if,
It's okay, you can go ahead. I'm just gonna check for future, because there's a lot of refunds being given out of this office that are, it's just inappropriate, so.
well, if, I don't want to if we don't have to give the refund today and we can wait for get some kind of, yeah, no, the problem is for me is that if we took money we weren't supposed to take to begin with,
Right,
then we can't hold the money, period. That's
Right.
kind of, to me, that's, you can't take money from somebody, find out that you didn't have the right to take it, and then say, sorry, I'm going to keep your money anyway. That does not fly.
I would remind you, though, it's not state statute. It was a case law, so
no, I understand that. I understand
if
that.
you have it in your regulations, it's in your regulations and somebody can challenge that. But at the time it was there, so
So that,
Our
and
fees
that's
are
a
not
good,
refundable.
Well, it's being challenged. That's the point. And
so, but so the real question becomes, though it's being challenged on the basis that we can't charge it
we're not supposed to be charging a fee for appeal.
Per the
appeal.
case law. Yeah.
per that case law. So the question really becomes, skipping the case law, I would concur. I also agree, find out from the attorney, did, in his opinion, do we have the right to keep the money because it was a valid charge? Even though the case, the opinion that rolled out from that court case says that you got to give the money back. I just want to make sure, because don't want to open up a can of worms on a bunch of people coming back saying, hey, wait a second, I want my money back.
Right.
Because you set the precedent. But I don't feel bad about doing it if we go to the attorney, we spend a little bit of money, because it's a little bit of money right now, but could be a lot of money down the road.
Right.
So I think on the surface, he should get his money back if it's been determined that we don't have the right to keep the money because the appeals fee we're charging wasn't appropriate. You didn't have the right to do that. Now, if the attorney goes back and says, yes, you had the right to do it, therefore you can set that fee structure, $500 can stay, then in that case, he doesn't get a refund. But it's got to be based on the fact that we have the right to take the money because it's in our fee structure, not the right to keep the money just because we already took it.
Right. So there's a part of me about this whole thing that says there should be a fee. You should be able to charge a fee.
Right.
Because saying that it doesn't cost anything to appeal a ZEO's decision opens us up to a lot of frivolous decisions having to go back for an appeal.
Correct.
Because there's no,
Delays the whole process. You could
well,
Let's
it's
get-
just automatically do it.
It's right. It's every ZEO decision can be appealed if you don't agree with it, because it doesn't cost anything for me to do it.
Exactly.
It's all on the town. So part of
Yep.
me sits there and goes, we should have the authority to be able to, because you can't just, no recourse, no, that you just, oh, I don't like what the ZEO said, so I'm gonna appeal it and it doesn't cost me anything and it's the town picks up the whole time. So that's the other part of me on this whole thing.
That's what I was
I
trying to
agree.
get clarified from the attorney.
Right. So I guess,
On the table?
I think we probably should table this until we get a decision from the town attorney.
However, you do need to take off the certification of location approvals with a public hearing because there are no public hearings. I mean, you don't have to take it off. It's just, it's never going to happen because there are no public hearings. So it can just be removed.
We can clean it up when we go to see if we have to clean up the appeals of the decision of the order.
Yeah.
Zoning board.
So we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting as well.
Mhm.
Yep.
So
And yeah.
we'll table this discussion. But then we'll also add on to the agenda to review the zoning board of appeals fee schedule.
Yep.
I'm hoping they'll just I think they're going to take the whole issue out of zoning board of appeals hands anyway. So I think both of those will end up going away.
Yep.
Soon.
Next one, would anybody like to make the motion for the next item?
I'll make the motion. Motion to recommend the town council adopt the proposal fair housing resolution for the town of Ledyard as contained in the draft dated September 23rd, 2021.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion. So this is a annual, we do this every year to just say that we adopt our fair housing resolution, just saying that we support fair housing within the town of Ledyard.
It's a requirement to get the funding for the housing rehab grant that we already have. So you
Right.
have to do this.
You have to do this. Yep. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item. Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion. Motion to recommend the town council extend archery hunting on certain town-owned lands and certain open space properties for 1 year in accordance with provisions in ordinance 100-018, Revision 1, an ordinance providing archery hunting on certain town-owned lands and certain open space properties.
Do I hear a
I'll sec-
second? Okay. Discussion. So this is just an annual update in accordance with the ordinance that we review it annually and reapprove it. So we do this on a year-by-year basis.
Kevin, you may not know the answer to this question, but do you know how many people may have hunted on it last year by chance?
12.
Well, 12?
It's they open it up to only 12, 6 on,
Yep.
so there's 6 on the Clark Farm and 6 on the Founders Preserve property.
Yep,
It's a lottery-based program.
Right.
yep.
So I think last year 12 people applied, to all 12 people got.
That's what I kind of thought.
Yeah. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next item, a discussion regarding Public Act 21, TAC 1, legalization of cannabis, marijuana, retail store, and micro cultivator. So, I'm not really sure where to go with this. So right now, we know that the planning commission, zoning and planning commission has put a 6-month moratorium on applications. So we have a little bit of time to go review this.
We haven't voted on that.
Not, oh, we haven't voted. I know that Nate said that you guys were moving forward to put that. out.
Yeah, it's on our next agenda.
Okay, okay.
I think it's 18th.
Yeah, okay, thank you. What issue here is that apparently we have to go put this into referendum question if we decide we don't want to, or if we think we don't want to, we have to put a referendum onto the ballot. So just decide whether or not we want to go do this. Or allow this, or not allow this within the town.
My personal opinion is I'm trying to figure out what the value is, because every town around us is, you got some towns that are rushing to the door to put these in, and I'm trying to understand the value.
Most of our neighboring communities are all looking to not allow it.
You know, because I'm trying to figure out the value.
Yep.
So yeah, I would probably not be in support of having the ability to sell cannabis in town.
Yep.
So
I think if we go that route, we have to put that on a referendum vote.
which to
Which
me
I'm
would
fine
be,
with.
yeah, I'd be fine with that too, putting it out there, letting the town as a whole make a determination on, you know, because then that leads into a whole other mess of things they have to be figuring out
Right.
for that. And
So I need some more time to digest this action before we move forward. We do have a little bit of time because we're obviously not putting it on the next ballot tomorrow.
Yep.
So it could go on the May referendum.
So will this just be tabled for now, Kevin?
Yeah, no action at the moment.
No action.
We'll continue discussion on this, in my opinion. Hillary, do you have anything you want to add to that before I move on?
No, you can move on. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Moving on, actually, is the next action that we need to do is a discussion and possible action regarding the transition of outstanding unfinished business to be forwarded to the next land use committee. So going through our agenda, it's pretty much, so since this will likely be the last meeting of this land use committee. So it looks like going forward, actions are going to be the old business item number 1 for the road repairs for utilities. Discussion amending ordinance 300 tax 022 for the agricultural commission. The review of the town-owned property, which is just, that's always ongoing. Blight enforcement, which is another continuing ongoing. The Clark Farm, which is another continuing ongoing. And I'm gonna ask the opinion on the East street, do we want to keep that on the agenda for the next land use committee? What are the opinion of the councilors on that?
I would say yes. Just so we have a good handle on if we still have anything going on down there, you know, especially since the summer's gonna be coming in. The winter won't be such a big deal, but summer will be coming back, and just making sure that the place is properly policed.
I don't disagree. I just wanted to get the consensus of the commission. That's all.
Yep.
Other action, the discussion of possible action to issue Mr. Mogul a refund and changing the fee structure for the zoning board of appeals. So that's two separate items, or reviewing the fee structure for the ZBA. The cannabis, Public Act 21, TAC 1. So that will be a continued discussion going on. And that's all I can think of based upon what we typically have on the agenda. I don't know if there's any other items you think we should be forwarding on to the next committee.
Nothing comes to mind.
Hillary?
I can't think of anything else.
Okay, thank you. With that, so that would be the list of moving forward for the action for the next land use committee of the town council. Do you good on that, Roxanne?
I got it all down. We'll do a memo for you to send.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. With that, if any other new business before the committee, Mike?
Just a comment, just wishing both of the present councilors luck in the election coming up tomorrow. As you know, I'm not running, but I wish you both well.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We're here a second.
Second,
Move without exception. Thank you.
everybody take care.
You
It
too,
was
Mike.
nice working with you guys. Good luck tomorrow, Kevin.
Thank you. You too, Hillary.
Good
Have
luck.
a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Take care.